And he became the mysterious God-man. Yes, the incarnation. But here's the point I want to make that was said about him. When certain folks saw what he was doing and how he was living,
Yes.
and what he was doing on earth, the question was asked, can any good thing come out of Nazareth? The impression or implication there was that no young man could grow up in an environment like Nazareth and come out good.
Yes.
But Jesus Christ conquered that perception, and there was not anything that could have come out of Nazareth that was better. By faith today, I can recommend that any parent, any child, any caretaker who introduces Jesus into the environment in which a young person may grow up or have to develop his tendencies for life through the power and the grace of the Spirit of Christ, that person can reflect whatever Christ can produce in him. You see, a person eventually, by faith, should and would only live the life of Christ. As Paul says, I live, yet not I, but Christ lives in me. So irrespective of what we may discuss today, let us remember in the deep recesses of our mind and heart that Jesus Christ can change lives, he can sustain lives, and he can live his life within anybody. In fact, that's the only life that matters. For after the earthly life is past, then eternal life becomes the life of that person, and it can only be from Jesus Christ. May that give us hope today, and may each of us be connected to this Jesus by faith.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Macmillan, for those powerful words reminding us of eternal life when everything was over and everything would have burnt up. The only thing that would matter is eternal life. And so I trust those listening on the radio. There may be a technical glitch. Can you WhatsApp me at 433-6917? Let me know if you can hear us on the radio, please, or somebody listening through cable TV. Okay, 433-6917. What prompted my subject today, and I see Dr. McDonald is on. She's doing a wonderful job with young people, but I will tell you, she'll tell you what she's doing. Last night I went by Fish Fry, and what I saw last night really, I can say, disturbed me a bit. And so those of you can guide me as to whether I was rightly disturbed or what. They had an event for young people. I don't remember the name of it. I know it began with J. And last night, 11 something, because I went to pick up someone. What I saw was hundreds of young people walking around. But what disturbed me more, and that's why my topic talk about if we as parents responsible for the way they dress and where they go. I saw young girls, teenagers, dressed in short pants. I guess we call it a bikini top because all their belly and their shoulder was showing. And the pants zipped down by the zipper. Now, I know someone listening may say, well, why you was looking? But believe me, unless you was blind, you couldn't miss it. And you're talking about teenagers. Now, what disturbed me about it was that late at night, why is it that you are, and especially in a culture where you have the Bahamas, in the Western Hemisphere, I think, or the Caribbean, where I think the highest incidence of rape in the country. Why is it that young ladies walking around dressed in such a manner? And of course, I stood by the police station, and they told me that one incident already breaking out, and it was discussed that how they need to do something needed to be done to send those young people home. My topic today talked about the fact that are we as parents, including myself, responsible for the way our teenagers dress and the places they go. But coming in, a young lady, Dr. Marie McDonald, she's running a program right now I had a privilege of sitting in that program and listening to them talk to about, I counted about 20 something young men at the time I was in the session. And I really enjoyed it, and I wish we had the whole of Nassau there. But Dr. McDonald, unmute your mic and tell us about this program.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, we've hosted Operation Transformation, and it is a program that is set up to help transform the lives of the young people through education. Now, while we are focusing on education, we are also looking at the whole man and listening to the topic that Mr. Williams spoke about with the dress code. That is one of the areas that we covered in the training, because we need our young people to know that they are not hoochie mamas. They don't have to dress according to the style that everyone else is wearing. They can set their own standard, which is above, and not to just show themselves. And those are the things we have been teaching our young ladies, and they have really, really gravitated towards it. Because let me tell you, if the kids have no examples, or if the kids have no examples, they will follow what they see. And that is the reason why we have a problem, because they are looking at everyone else is doing it, so why can't we do it? So Operation Transformation has really set out to help our young people, show them the right way. And I'm very proud of the young people that we have so far, because what is happening, they are really taking in what we are given. And one of the things, when I told them we will end the program, they do not want the program to end. And that was an encouragement in itself, because we are teaching them everything, how to conduct themselves, how they must speak, how they must walk, how to dress, and all of this good stuff.
You have any one of the other persons on now who might wanted to share any more about the program?
I salute you for this topic this afternoon.
Sorry, I didn't hear you, Doc. I was asking you if any of the other persons on who might wanted to share. And unmute your mic. Your mic is muted. Go ahead.
Sorry?
And I was asking you if there's any one of the other persons who are part of the program on who wanted to share.
Yes, I have Miss Nicole Burnside. Miss Nicole, she's there. Nicole?
Yes, I'm here. Just give me a second.
You can share, Nicole, please.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody.
Good evening.
I'm part of the team that is helping Dr. Marie with transformation. It's an amazing program, and the effects that it's having on the children is yet to be seen. And as Dr. Marie has already shared with you, that, you know, in the beginning when the children were coming, they were a little bit hesitant. They didn't know, they were shy, they weren't, you know, engaging. But by the second day, these guys do not want to leave. They are eager. They are surrounded by people who are loving them, caring for them. They're seeing God in action. Rather than hearing the name of God, they're actually seeing it in action with the people who are there. And this is having a tremendous effect on all the kids. And as Dr. Maria said, the children don't want to leave. We're currently doing 500, but we actually got 1,200 people, and there's still more wanting to be part of this program. So we already know that this has come from God, obviously, but it's actually doing something absolutely amazing in the Bahamas. And in 14 weeks, you know what I mean, as the program continues, as they do iBrain Gym, this will be able, will transcend over to them in their schoolwork, because the teachers in education will be able to see the difference in these children. And we're hoping, I'm praying anyway, that this takes off in such a way that GCC, Global Chaplaincy Center, can come alongside with the Ministry of Education to come together and work together for all these kids. So it's an amazing program. I've seen clips of it and I'm hearing what's happening with the children. But this is something that has come today, that's here in the Bahamas now, which everyone, you'll hear about it. because the kids indeed in a week have indeed been transformed, and we can see that. So this program, which is going to run for the next 4 years, with as many kids that come, but obviously, you know, Dr. Marie Global Chaplaincy Center, we need people to help, to donate, to come out and help in this program over the next 4 years, because this is something that is going to not only transform the life of children, and as Dr. Marie says, we're looking at the holistic man. So it's not just the child, it's the parents and everybody else around them. So this program is here, not just to transform the lives of the children, but also to transform the lives of the parents. So this, as far as we're concerned, and I know I'm a little bit biased in this, but I believe that this is the program that is actually going to impact lives in ways that has never been seen or heard of before. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Doc, I guess you could tell them a little more about the program, where it originates from, you know, how they can be a part of the program going forward in the future.
Dr. Marie.
Okay, I'm here. All right, the program actually got started. It was actually a kingdom assignment given to me. And what happened is I knew what I had to do, but I didn't know how to start it. So I just, you know, was waiting. And one day, the same young lady that is on the call with me, she asked me the question, what is it that one thing that the Lord has given you? And I told her what it was. And she said, well, let's do it. So I began planning along with Nicole. And here we are today. It was, you know, we got other persons on board and they were excited about helping us. And that is how the program started. And to conclude the 2 weeks, Brother Williams, we will be conducting a crusade on Windsor Park beginning tomorrow night. That crusade, we will be ministering to the family, the entire family. And we will also be praying for all of the young people that are returning to schools and even for the family. So that will be the conclusion of the 2 weeks. But the program itself continues for the next full year, for 1 year.
What time the program starts tomorrow night for persons who are interested?
The crusade starts at 7 p.m. and it's called Give Me Jesus Crusade.
Are you inviting persons to join you tomorrow on Windsor Park?
Yes, Brother William, certainly we are inviting everyone, because there is a message. On Monday night, will be a prophetic night, and we have a pastor out of the United States, very humble man of God, and he is descended from Haiti, and he has a powerful testimony. So that will take place on Monday, prophetic night. Tuesday night will be the night for all the young people. We have a 17-year-old who will be ministering the word of God. And Wednesday, this is the night that I'm excited about. Wednesday, it's a night for men, all the men. There will be no woman on the platform, all men conducting the service throughout. Because we want our women to know our men are there and they have their say and they are making a difference. While some may be out on vacation, taking a break, we have dedicated men of God who love the Lord and are willing to do all that they can. So Wednesday night is for the men. And then we have on a transformation one night. And then I can't remember the other one because I don't have my paper, but it's transformation. And we have another speaker out of Canada. We also have our speaker here from Nassau, Pastor Rick Dean. He will be also speaking. So we are inviting everyone. It's going to be life transforming on next week.
Okay, so I just want to thank you for such information on this program, Transforming Lives. As you know, that's the name of the program. And we talk about the fact that the only way life can be transformed is and so I just want to let you know, as we go into our topic, you're welcome, and your guests and anybody else are welcome to join in as we talk about, for those of you who joined late, I was sharing an experience I had last event to the fish fry to pick up some. And all the young people I saw, and in particular, with this, what disturbed me was the young ladies, the way they would dress, as though they were going on the beach. I was told that they had some young people's event, and I was told that because they, I guess they put, I don't know, they spray you with something where you can get wet. So that was the reason why they were dressed in such manner with spray paint and whatever. But I felt that, I mean, I don't know, I just felt, I don't know, anyway. But that, maybe that might just be me. And then another thing, my mind went back to earlier this year, a parent called me to take her daughter to an event. And her daughter went to pick up a friend. And ladies and gentlemen, now listen to this. I picked up a friend, this was about 10:30 that night. Her friend came out of the house. This is a young girl. The girl is only 13 years old. Skimpy short pants, a top. Now I can't miss it, I can be honest. The zipper zipped down. And I'm like, the mother never came, or the parent, whoever this young lady lived with, never came to the gate to see who is picking up her daughter. That really bothered me. Okay, now, when I then took them to the event, and the Lord had it so that the place was so overcrowded, the police shut it down and say nobody in. So I was glad I had that experience. And hundreds of young people outside, so you can imagine what we're inside. And so I was glad to drop them, get something to eat, and take them back home. Now, what disturbed me again, then I'm going to open up for comments, because my topic is, are we as parents responsible for the way our young children dress, teenagers dress, and the places they go? When I dropped this young lady home, this was like about 1 o'clock in the morning. I dropped her into an apartment complex. There's a gate community. The young lady went in. There was no parent outside to see, I guess, when she's coming home. And when I dropped her home, I had to wait because she had actually knocked on the door to go inside. Now, ladies and gentlemen, think of this. I am talking about a 13-year-old young girl. She had to knock on the window, knock to the door. We had to wait a while for her to get in. Meanwhile, the other young lady who I took, her parent was actually on the phone with me, straight talking with me, conversing with me until I dropped her daughter's friend home, and dropped her daughter home, right? So I am saying to you, are we as parents, and go back to last night, someone may say, I don't know, may say, well, they went out one way and then they changed. But the way those young girls were dressed last night, and maybe I'm from the old school, maybe I got to get with the times. I really felt that was inappropriate, considering what we have about this rape culture and everything that's going on. So what I want to do, folks, I don't want to talk. I want to shut up. And I want you to give your viewers, are we as parents responsible for the way our teenagers dress and the places we go? I will go silent. Who will be the first to give their views? Just simply unmute your mic, chair.
David.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
It's my opinion that
Yes.
as long as your child is living with you, you are responsible for them.
Uh-huh.
Now, parents need to train their children, especially their girls,
Okay.
on how to dress.
Right.
But if a parent is not herself dressing in the manner that she expects her girl to dress, well, then there will be no change. I know I'm old-fashioned myself. I can't even go out my house with shorts on. I'm not going to do that. I'll go with pants on. I'll go with pants, but I'm not even going in shorts.
Uh-huh.
These young people, they need to be trained at home. We have to take more interest in our children. And, you know, some children, when they're leaving home, they will leave home in decent clothes, you know. And some of them are so artful, they will take a change of clothes and change where they're going.
Okay.
But, you know, the children need to be taught self-respect.
Yes.
You need to respect yourself. And, you know, a lot of it has to do with peer pressure. A
Okay.
girl is not going to go in a crowd of her friends dressing the way that they're not dressing. She is going to want to be a part of that crowd.
Okay.
So, you know, the problem also exists with the choice of her friends.
Okay.
That is my 5 cents. You know, these children, they have to be taught what the consequences can be from their actions.
Yes.
They probably are not even thinking down the road. They're only thinking for the day. They're not thinking about, well, what might happen down the road if I'm dressing like this. They're not thinking like that. They need to be trained.
And fights and skirmish did break out last night. I just need to say that. But so my sister, I want to say thanks for your contribution. I see my someone says they totally agree with Mr. Antonio. I see my co-host is here, so I'm going to turn it over and introduce you to my co-host, the lovely Jackie Gardner. Jackie, welcome to Transforming Lives.
Hi, thank you so very much. I'm here, but just basically made it in. I just had a relative passed away, so was basically trying to deal with that. So I'm hoping that you will bear with me. I'm sort of not ready, so I'm not on camera, but it's happy Sunday to everyone. So glad to be here, glad for life. It's a beautiful day. And like I said, especially in light of a young man, less than, you know, I thought that my sister was young when she passed. And, you know, we're still grieving that. And to just now have a cousin, all of a sudden he passed and he's young, he's in his 50s. It tells you life is short. That's basically life is short. And if life is short, then all the more we have to be cognizant of the need to be a positive influence and impact on our children. So I just want to make 1 or 2 comments and then I'm going to pass it back to you. But just talking, I was just looking at the word training or train. And it says it's the process of being conditioned or taught to do something, right? And I love the guest who mentioned the fact that it is the responsibility of parents to train our children. And so as parents, I'm not here to put any blame, you know, it's not a matter of blame, it's a matter of owning up and taking responsibility to where it starts. Everything needs a start. And so it starts definitely with our parents. We definitely can't move away from it. And I love what that guest said, because she was being very transparent, very authentic when she said, it first needs to start with our parents. If you want to train someone, then you need to first know how to do what it is that you're trying to train that child to do. So for example, if you want your child to be respectful, then you yourself as an adult need to be respectful. I was just watching a clip last night where a mother was upset, went to a beautician shop, and she was upset at the way that her hair was done. And she had, her son was like 12, 13. And I mean, she started carrying on in the shop. And the little boy, 12, 13, yes, he was supporting the mummy, but you needed to see, he mimicked just how the mummy was cursing. Here is a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, started to repeat the same, I mean, cussing, the people say words as the parent. So as we talk about dress code, now I know, you know, the dress code has changed and they say God is the same yesterday and today and tomorrow. And so I'm not sure how that, I'm still not sure how that transition should be made, because I do understand, you know, different styles, different generation, all that good stuff. But I do know that decency is decency. Now, that does not change, right? So if it's indecent to expose yourself yesterday, then surely today, we can't change that to it now being decent and acceptable for our children to dress that way. So that's my comment, that parents need to understand that it first starts with them. them being a consistent example. And I like to say consistent because we have some parents today, they'll tell their children it's not acceptable to do such and such. And then when they're having a good day or they feel too tired, whatever mood they're in, then the same thing that was not acceptable yesterday becomes acceptable today. So that's number one. The principles are principles. And secondly, and then I'll turn it back over to you. In terms of this whole dressing thing, parents have to understand that yes, you want to have a relationship with your child, but you and your child, you know, this whole thing of mommy and daddy, me and my child dressing alike, you got to be really, really careful with that, because sometimes it teaches the child it could send the wrong message, right? So something that is adult appropriate is not necessarily, you know, appropriate for your child. So be cognizant of that. Send it back over to you, and then I'll come back in a little bit later.
Okay, thank you, Jackie. And for a minute, you put a scare in me when you talk about death, because you obviously know where my mind went, but at least you cleared that up. Amen.
Yes, it's a cousin. Yes.
Good. Yes. So, folks, in the chat, Full Ford Rose says, just how we dress is how we will be addressed. Terry Antonio says, principles don't change. I just good afternoon. Condolences to Jackie. Full Ford Rose says, I totally agree with Miss Antonio. And so, folks, I just want to open it up. There anybody that's want to share? We're talking about as parents, but the way our children dress. I want to dominate. Open that for somebody else. I thought I started.
Is it open for me?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I totally agree with the young lady before. The parents are responsible for how the children dress, especially if they are underage. And I'm going to give you an example. My family and I went shopping in the US one time. And my daughter, I think she was in high school, getting ready to finish school. She bought an outfit. Now, my husband didn't see it when she bought it, but when we got to the hotel, he asked her the question, where are you going to wear it? And she was saying, well, I buy it with my money. He said, well, you sure will not wear it in my house. And she could not wear it in the house. And she was in high school, right? And what she did, the only thing she did with that outfit was she took a picture, and that was it. Because he put his foot down. Parents are responsible, and they need to get it out of their heads that they can be that close friend with their children, whereby you allow them to break rules and do what they feel like. Parents need to really, take control of their homes. The young people are looking for directions. And that is why some of them rebel, and that is why some of them do the things they do. But we as parents have to be wise enough to know what is right and good for them. And they may be influenced by their peers, their friends, and feel that, oh, they're doing it, so it's okay. No, parents need to let them know, not because they're doing it, it's right. And train these children, because some of them are only looking for direction and good direction, and they will follow it.
Yeah. Somebody says, good afternoon, everyone. I must say all parents have to take full control of their children to act, speak, and dress according to God's word. Another person says, what a good father to take such a stand. And the next one says, hi, thank you. Everything you said, I approve. And Jackie says, absolutely, they're looking for direction. And so if you're just joining us by radio, by cable TV, by Facebook, by YouTube, I'm not in a position to monitor the Facebook page and the YouTube right now. But the question is, and we started talking about my experience last night. And we talked about how early, I think it was around June, when I went to pick up a friend of mine asked me to take her daughter somewhere. And then her daughter asked to pick up a friend. And we talked about the fact that this young girl and the way she came out, and not even a parent, a father, a husband, a brother, nobody even came to see. Who was it at 10:30 in the night? This young lady was jumping in a car to go out with. And then when I dropped her home about 12:30, nobody else came up or come to look to see who was it that brought her home. And I'm talking about a very young girl, right? And the question is, right, are we as parents responsible? Anybody else may feel different because someone said, mentioned that sometimes they go one way, they pack the clothes in the bag, and then they change when they go out. So we just want to be open for comments. Are we responsible for the way our children dress? But not only that, the places they go.
Dave, can I put another spin on that in terms of when we see our young people dressing inappropriately, is it our responsibility to approach them and give them some advice, or do we leave that totally to the prerogative of their parents? Should we, as believers, as citizens of the Bahamas or citizens of the world, get involved and take that village approach, that it takes a village to raise good children? Or should we say that that's the responsibility of parents? Anyone?
Well, I can't answer that, so I can leave that to somebody else to come in and comment on that.
You don't want to take that one? Go.
No, I let them leave the guests. All these people we got on Zoom, we leaving this for them to answer.
All right, that's a big one. We want to hear, we're waiting to hear. Should the community become involved, or should we just leave it up to parents?
The only thing I'll say, I know sometimes when you see women dress what you consider inappropriately, and from a male, when you approach them, the response will be, well, why you looking, or what you looking at, or stuff like that. So I think from my perspective, you find some men will be a bit shy in approaching, even when some women, they don't even sit right. When you're sitting up there high and they're not sitting right, and if you approach them. So, but I leave it open for the audience to comment on that.
That's an interesting one. Ms. Roll, I think Ms. Roll was about to say something, and then we can go. Ms. Roll.
Ms. Roll?
I noticed that her mic was open. Anybody, I'd like to know now. I'd like to know what are your thoughts on it. What is your thought? Share your views. Ms. Wallace, we have our lovely Miss Terry in the room. Always good to have you here. Miss Marie. Let's hear someone else's view on that. Should we get involved or just leave it totally to parents?
Well, while they're waiting to speak, and once they decide to speak, you just cut in and cut me off. It reminds me, remember now, growing up, in my case, being 57 now, there were times when we could have approached these children, whereas today, like we always talk about the village, you can't approach children today now because the parents get involved. And I'm sure those of you who are in education and in the school system knows that when you approach the children, they then tell the parents, and then the parents, you got to deal with the children and the parents. So I don't know, is that you ask the question, could it be that we no longer want to get involved because we recognize that there are repercussions if we do an example? Let's say, suppose, what would it have been like if last night I approached numerous young ladies or maybe even the men, but just say the young ladies, and said something, what would have been, the result? Like that.
So we're moving in fair now. We're allowing fair to take over. Yeah, you're coming and you're far away now. Anybody else want to, Miss Marie? I see you look like you're about to say something.
Yes, I want to say in response to Brother Williams with that statement he made. It's how we approach people.
Yes.
If you approach them in a wrong manner, then you will get but if you approach them in the right way, I believe, even though they may not agree with you, they will, hear what you have to say, and eventually they will begin to see the light and do better. And I'm saying that, and I like to talk from experience. There was this young lady, the way she was dressed, it was rather inappropriate. And I went to her and I threw my arms around her and I said, you know something, you look great, but this part of it have to change. It doesn't look right. And I was very discreet about it. And, she thanked me and she said, you know what, I wish everyone would have said it in that manner rather than just, blurting it out, oh, you don't look right. But it's how we speak to these young people, we will get their attention.
Oh, I was going to, I'm so glad that you put that in, because love covers a multitude of sin. And sometimes we throw out what they say, you throw the water with the soap, you throw everything out. And it isn't necessarily, that's not the wisest thing to do. Sometimes we need to scale it back and try to figure out why are these young people rejecting our advice and our opinions. And a lot of time it is the manner in which we give them. If we're trying to dominate them and be controlling, and they think, now this is another thing, as we talk about young people, you sometimes have to earn that right, meaning that they need to first see that you are genuinely concerned before they allow you to have the right sometimes to speak certain things in their life. So that's another thing. We can't just be concerned about reprimanding so much sometimes as first trying to build that relationship and like do it simultaneously, build a relationship as we try to point them in the right direction. But outside of that, if we're just barking rules that you shouldn't, a lot of times or most often, that's not the most effective approach.
Okay, and a text coming in say, who buy these clothes? Their parents, right? The children, normal, what say they go in this place and end up somewhere else. So the parents cannot be, so this person said the parents cannot be blamed because they are not with them 24/7. I don't know if anybody agree with that or disagree with that. They're saying the parents cannot be blamed because we're not with them 24/7. Anybody else want to say anything on that particular comment? That's our what's up coming in.
Okay, so I think from my perspective, if they're not with you, right, and you have no control over them, then absolutely, in those instances, you can't be blamed. But my sons are now, my sons are what, 30 plus. So I'm not sure whether they listen or not, but I'll tell you what I did, right? And to me, as a parent, this was one of the greatest compliments. And you don't, as a parent, you don't look for compliments, but when your children can come back and share with you the things that they admired about your parenting style. Now, there are times they also said there were things that they didn't like, but this is one of the things that they really liked. Was the fact, what I used to do with my children, I let them hear me praying about them, like they grew up, hear me calling their names, right? And so I used to pray this prayer about right people and right places and right things. And I let them hear me praying those prayers, right? And what is gonna happen, like, and I used to tell them, like, as for me and my house, we're gonna serve the Lord. Your children need to hear that you're concerned about where they go, who they associate with. I used to say, as the priest in this home, parents, as the priest in this home, they fall under this. And so all I'm saying is that, and that used to sometimes guide them in terms of what they were saying. They're like, mommy just said that prayer this morning. This particular company, I'm not so sure mommy would really approve of it. So it caused them to bring that into remembrance when they are choosing their friends. And that was exactly the way I did. I chose music in the church. In my home, I love music. And so I used to choose music that I knew that would bring them under a spirit, would cause them to have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. My children are not perfect. I'm just saying in terms of to better guide them. So that's what we're trying to do, because of course, as they go along, they're gonna make mistakes, and you want that word there. You want that sound word that they can fall back on and say, you know something, mommy did tell me this. So I don't think this is the right choice. So even when they made the choice to get baptized, so I see some of my colleagues there. My view was, even though I was very active in the church and all that, and I see kids going very early to get baptized, my position was, and this is just my position as a parent, that I am going to live my life in such a way that I will make Christianity so attractive. Like that's what's going to shout out my home as the example for my children, that I need to, like how, some parents like, you got to go get baptized. You got to go get baptized. No, I'm going to live in such a life. So righteousness going to first start with me. They're going to look at me and then make that decision. So even with the dress code and all that, I wanted them to look at me and say, well, how would my mommy dress? Would my mommy make such a selection? And so when they made that decision to get baptized. When it came to baptism, something like that. So in a lot of things and areas of their life, in their clothing, what they eat, I try to first be the mirror that they would look in as I look to God. You understand? They say by beholding, they become changed. I wanted them to behold me as I behold Jesus and be changed by that. Make decisions consistent with that. Whether it's food, whether it's clothes, whether it's decision for Jesus.
Okay, I just want to read from the chat. Coming in the chat, someone said, Fulford Road said, this is where the training comes into place. Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. Coming from Rogers, some parents, even in church, don't know what modesty, appropriate church attire, shoes, makeup, tight clothing. We have all seen in our churches sometimes. Church is a good place to start. The what's appropriate attire for ladies, all ages, environment, church, and workplace. Folks, you're listening to the program Transforming Lives on Global 99.5, Cable TV 974. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're also on, Zoom. Today, we're talking about the children, the way they dress, where does the parents fall, the way they dress, and the places they go. So what I want to do now is throw the first quick trivia. And I just want to ask those who have won before to refrain. You can send in the answer, but let's give somebody else a chance for your McDonald's voucher. 326-0271, 326-0271. There are 2 doctors on the Zoom today. Just simply call us, and this will tell me for those persons who are on the radio and cable TV listening in. Give me the name of those 2 doctors' name I was calling, and simple as that, you win yourself a McDonald's voucher. 326-0271, or you can WhatsApp me at 433-6917. And I'm saying for those who I know we have some persons on who always win up the gifts, but even if you win it, because you win before, we can say let's donate it to somebody else. So give me the name of the 2 doctors who are on the show. One who's on regular, already helping you out every Sunday. And the other doctor, 326-0271. I want a call-in person, and 433-6917. As we continue talking about are the parents responsible for, and those of you who join us late, the conversation started as I shared my experience at the fish fry last night. And early in the month of June, I think it was, when I picked up this 13-year-old, a friend of mine's daughter, to take an event, and she asked to pick up a friend, and how the young lady, 13-year-old, came out of the house and the way she was dressed, and that late in the night, and I was kind of disappointed that a parent did not come to the gate to see who it was picking up her daughter that time. But even more disappointed when I dropped the 13-year-old home after 12 o'clock in the night, the parent still was not up, or whoever, to see who was this that the young lady was coming home. So is it our parents, are we to blame? Do we accept responsibility for the way our children dress and the way they go? 326-0271, 326-0271. Let's talk about it. Do we accept the blame, parents? Are we at fault if we buy the clothes? Or is it also someone says, the children say they go in one place and they take their clothes in the bag and they change and they go another place? Let's open up for the conversation.
Brother Williams, I have someone here wish to share on that point.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Brother Williams. My name is Henderson Eiffel, and I'm in from Canada. I want to concur, yes, that parents should be responsible for their kids. I grew up in Barbados before going off to Canada. And at the age of 19, I had to be in the house at 9 o'clock. My parents knew exactly where I was going, doing, and I had to dress appropriately. I had to speak appropriately, and I had to show the elders respect.
But you a male child, as a male child, sir?
Yes, as a male child, 19 years, I had to be in the house at 9 o'clock. If I wanted to go anywhere, I had to ask for permission, and they will lay down the ground rules for me. As a matter of fact, I'm one of 12, and I have no regrets as to how they raised us. All of us did very well. Never had a problem with the police, and we all grew up as respectable citizens. And I tell you today, I have 2 kids and I certainly employ the same principles. I do not allow them to do what they want to do when they're under my roof. When they're of age and they're out on their own, then they can do what they want to do. But if you bring them up right, they will not depart from your teaching. Even now, I tell you, at the age that I'm at, I will still be respectful to everyone, anyone, anytime, everywhere. And my mother will still insist that I do the same as how she brought us all up. So I must concur with you. That is important. If we do not take our kids under our arms and teach them how they should grow up, listen, the world is waiting for them. Satan is waiting for them. Satan will teach them. The world will teach them, and we would not be happy about it.
Thank you very much, sir. At 19, wow, I got to be in the house at 9. Well, I 19, I had to be in the house at 9. But thank you for that. That's the thoughtful insight. Thank you for all the way from Canada sharing your experience. And we just want to invite others. We have another 10 minutes before we go. For those of us who join us late, we're talking about the role of parents if we are responsibility. Somebody says respect and manners will take you around the world. Okay. I see somebody say, Dave, that was not your experience. Wow, you're right on top of it. Oh, yes, it's the parents. These mothers are not setting decent morals in the dress code speech for their daughters to dress decent. Too many mothers want to dress like their daughters, which is so sad. We have to pray to God for guidance, wisdom, and knowledge to lead our daughters in the right way to go. Now, what do you say about those persons who say, well, those children have their own life to live, and we ought to let them live their life. We can't live their life for them. What would somebody say in response to that? Welcome, CJ Gardner. Okay, so right, so nobody want to respond on that because we got another 8 or 9 minutes. We also want to, like we said, we want to throw that McDonald's trivia. Okay, not only daughters not dressing decently, but also children. And so we share about last night, the event that they had. Somebody asked a question: how is it that the government gave permission, but I guess this is a free society, right? But like I said, there were hundreds of young people, hundreds, maybe thousands. We were talking about how it was so inappropriate the way they were dressed. In particular, I'd say the females, and I'm only saying the females because we recognize that the rape culture that we face today, and these were teenagers, right? These were teenagers. Good afternoon, Kaywana. Good to hear from you. And so we're wondering, how can we as parents, are we responsible for the way they dress, the places they go? Is there, and then when things happen, because we have another segment of society that says, oh, the young ladies should feel free, right? Young ladies should, or women should be free to dress the way they want to, So we have that side, in particular those when we talk about gender-based violence and sexual violence. But I would say, there's always a risk factor. While it does not give no one rights to in any way violate a female, we agree with that. But I also think that there has to be a level of protection. There has to be a level, or I like to call it risk. You have to lessen the risk. And what I saw last night, like I said, there was a number of skirmish out on the fish fry, right? There was a fight. I'm just saying. So as parents, I would agree, but I don't want to dominate the conversation.
I think we have Apostle. Yeah, I think Apostle Russell has something to say.
Go ahead.
All right.
I started to say something. I don't know if you're getting the apostles mix up. But
I saw your mic open, so I thought you were about to say something, and I didn't want to miss you.
yes, I wanted to. Guidance is a must. Train up a child in the way it should go, and when it is old, it should not depart from it. So guidance is a must. So, when the child with its age of accountability, they then want to themselves.
Uh-huh.
But when you are disciplined as a parent,
Yes.
especially to the word of God, your child, even at the age of accountability,
Okay.
still have to face the truth of being under your roof or your rules. And truly, if they cannot humble themselves and obey, then they have to leave. Because you
Okay.
must keep standard in your home. You must keep it.
But are you going to put
Don't
out your
forget
young
now.
child, your teenager?
Say again?
Are you going to put out your teenager if they're not obeying the standards and the rules of your home?
See what's so strong about that is the teenager have to make a decision.
Okay.
You see? Yeah. And they wouldn't stay. They wouldn't stay. Listen, the rebellion in them will be so strong that they are going to leave. You see, you wouldn't even have to put them out. But my point is that you have to have a stand whereby they see that you have chosen to honor God rather than to succumb to them.
Okay.
Because this is what most parents do. And that's one of the reasons why you ask the question. If you're going to put out your teenager, well, they have to make a decision. I'm not going to bend to you.
Yes.
You know, I want to make sure that I'm respectfully relating to you. But you choosing to be rebellious and defiant to the good counsel that I'm saying, you have to make a decision. Because you're not going to stay here doing what you feel like. Now, let me be clear. I will work with you with your trouble, where I see you receiving help to work with your trouble. But when you can be defiant and rebellious,
Yes.
you know, I mean, you even want to curse me out. You understand? You want to fight me and all that kind of stuff. No, I'm not going to put up with that. Out you
Okay.
go. Leave. In fact, the things would be packed. Your things would be packed for you to go. I'm helping you to go. Because you may want to stay doing the things that you're doing, but I'm not going to tolerate it. So that's my position.
Okay, thank you, Apostle. I want to read somebody say hi. Oh yes, I did pass, and I was wondering what was going on with all those young teens. They were not dressed decent at all, and so I told you that's what happened. Another one says, well, if young parents weren't guiding themselves, they won't really know how to guide their own children. That's a huge issue, and that I think because I watch also as parents pull up there and we're picking up children, right? Some parents are too comfortable in this society. Roger says letting the kids 12 and under roam the streets, parks, petty shops, neighborhood. It's a false sense of security, our culture. There are so many dangers, bad influence out there from adults and their peers. And Jackie says, now that is a very good point. So the churches have classes. And then Kwana says, children learn, that's powerful, what they live. You're listening to this program, Transforming Lives on Global 99.5 every Sunday, Cable TV 974, 4 to 5. We're talking about, we have a few minutes left, and we're just sharing on my experience last night as to whether we as parents are responsible for the way our children dress, responsible for the places they go. Because what we saw happen last night, it was, all I would say, it was food for thought. We recognize people have the freedom. We're not taking the freedom away, and we don't want to take their freedom away. But my concern was the amount of young ladies and the way I saw them dress last night. I think there's no way I could have agreed to a young daughter dressed the way she was. I believe if I didn't see a young daughter I have, and I don't, went out the house last night dressed like that, or I see her, I could almost believe that I would have born the baby. I'd have been the first male had a baby born. But nevertheless, some say, well, what you looking at? Go ahead.
I want to address whether or not the parent more or less is responsible for what the children wear.
Yes.
A home that good counsel requires the information as to where this particular item come from,
okay,
which I did not buy. So my point is this: if the government in the home is concerned about everything that is bought, brought to the home, it's very, very important for us then to see how the parent is responsible for everything coming into the home. If if a godparent, neighbor, anybody offers the children anything, the parents in their their righteous government attitude of protecting and being concerned about their children would want to find out where this come from. This, according to them, is inappropriate, so they will not allow it to be in the home. And when it comes to putting it on, they wouldn't allow the children to put it on. So my point is this: parents are responsible for what their children dress in and where they go as well, because you're supposed to be interested in knowing where your child is going, who he's going to be with. You don't approve of it, then you let them know, I'm sorry, I don't approve of you doing so. No, you can't go. You have to manage your home. That's what I'm saying. Parents, manage as a parent. Manage as a parent.
Okay, thank you, Apostle. I have to go off the radio. For those of you listening, we can continue on Zoom. I want to, Jackie, you want to share some closing remarks as we go off the radio? It's actually 5 o'clock, and then I'll end, take us off the radio. Go ahead, Jackie.
No, I just want to, it's an excellent topic. I really appreciate the feedback from those in the Zoom room. And I just want to say to parents, as we are about to end, that you have an awesome responsibility placed upon you by your Creator to, first of all, make sure that you are the child of the Heavenly King and that you are acting the right way. So you are acting as a child of the King. And then when he entrusts you with his child or his children, that you can live your life in such a way that you will set an example. You love and respect yourself and your God. And as a result of the love and the respect that you have for God and yourself, your children would be glad to look at you as a mirror and to follow your example. So just remember that as you go throughout that, throughout the day, throughout the weeks, that you do have a responsibility to train God's children up in the way that he requires them to go, and he will hold you accountable for that. Thank you so much.
Okay, folks, you've been listening to the program.
Praise the Lord, Jackie. Praise the Lord.
0.5. We will continue the conversation on Zoom, but for those of you who are live on the radio, also on Cable TV 974, you can join us on Facebook or YouTube, or you can join us on the Zoom link 4336917. I will text you the Zoom link. You've been listening to Transforming Lives on Global 99.5. We're here every Sunday, 4 to 5. We end the program the way we always end, by reminding you that there's nothing more important than having a personal relationship with Christ, who alone gives you eternal life. Not a church, not a denomination. We're talking about your personal relationship with Jesus Christ, who gives you and I eternal life. We offer condolences to the many who suffered the loss of including Jackie, of a loved one, the young man, Omar Davis, a group of men. We're planning to visit the family. A co-worker of mine I found out just died yesterday, well, a former co-worker. And so we offer condolences to the many. We also want to remember those who are sick. Folks, Dave Williams, Jackie Gardner, Transforming Lives on Global 99.5 every Sunday, 4 to 5, encouraging you to have a wonderful day. Okay, so folks, we're live off the radio. We can continue the conversation as we talk about the parents, the responsibility with our teenagers, with our adults, with our young people. Somebody said, and I'm going to go to the chat, churches should have classes. I read in a local newspaper, a lady having a modesty clothing line after consistently hearing a pastor speak on women and appropriate clothing, the discussion resulting from it. So even though we talk about it, and we're focusing on our teenagers, and as parents, we haven't accepted the responsibility. And one thing I observed last night also, I noticed too, some of the parents, the way who came and picked up their children. So I was really lucky. When you look at the way they dress, right? So trying to help you to understand why children, and particularly I'm referring to the young ladies now, why they were perhaps dressed the way they were, because I observed some of the parents. But I think that we all have a lot of work to do. You know, even though they may call us old school, we didn't have our time. But I always look at the risk factor, and like I say, there are those who say, well, you know, what you doing? But you got to train them up. Many of us came from the old school, and you know, we never had all that. I got my freedom probably at the age of 16, 17 or so. But the point is, we had parents who guided us, who directed us along various principles. And I think that's what we ought to do. Anybody else want to comment? These last few minutes, is there anything anybody else want to share before we sign off?
Okay, good afternoon.
Good evening. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Go ahead. Someone wanted to share?
Oh, yes, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud.
Yes, when Ephesians 6 addressed parents, it talked about the father, it talked about the father, and then it talked about, well, actually it really encompasses the mother and father bringing up this child in the way how God designed the child to be brought up. Now, sometimes parents have issues, and with them having these issues, sometimes the child is in a juggling point, a juggling place, whereas the mother is telling the child one thing, and then the child goes to the father, and the father says, okay, you can do it. And so therefore the issues between the mother and father, you know, sometimes brings the child to the place, whereas to the place of saying, I can do what I want to do. I can dress how I want to dress. If mommy says no, then daddy will say yes, point blank. So therefore we need classes inside of the church and the ministries actually that will help parents, that they would be able to stand in agreement to know how to bring up the children, teaching them how to bring up the children in the way how they ought to bring them up.
Okay, so thanks. That's some excellent points. Anybody else want to share any other point? If not, then we shut down. Is there anything anybody wants to share? And then
Hello. Hello.
Go ahead.
Yes, I think one issue, a dark issue is sometimes parents allow their kids to dress a certain way. Young ladies, because they're the breadwinners in the family, you know, they, how do you say, selling their daughters, if you will. So there's that dark side to it. Those parents who allowing their daughters to dress a certain way.
Somebody has their mic open, Dave.
Okay, 1 minute. Yes. I'm sorry, we don't want to.
It's Apostle Clement Russell, his mic is open.
Yeah, tell Clement Russell turn his mic.
Okay, Okay, Roger, see if we can talk over and you have to end it. I can't.
Yeah, I'm saying some ladies prostituting out their daughters, or some daughters dress a certain way, young daughters, even 14, 13, to bring money into the home. That's the dark side of that. Inappropriate dressing.
Yeah. The church where I go, where I came in, that's really I mean. But yeah, man.
Russell, Apostle Russell, you need to turn off your mic.
Encouraging you.
Human beings produce giants and producing all these things, and they always go back and forth from the top of their mountain down to the underworld. All these things. And people say, well, that's just mythology, that's not real. And I agree with that. There's a lot of made up things in mythology. But as you go to the Bible, you know what you find out is real? You find out that in the Bible, fallen angels mated with the daughters of men and produced giants.
Well, I
so
see
there is an
myself.
element of truth in the ancient teachings of mythology. I just believe that it's been embellished by men, and men have changed it a little and begin to teach them in a different way. But if you want to know the truth about it, let's go to the Bible. What does the Bible say? All cultures have a teaching about the underworld, what they believe is underneath our feet, or underneath the world.
I'm evangelist.
I don't believe in other religions or other cultures or other teachings. If I want to know what really is beneath our feet, the underworld, I'm going to go to the Bible. Because the Bible is the only book that claims to be the book of truth. In the very first verse tells us who created all things.
What you doing
He is
with
the
this?
one who created it. So what we're going to do today, we look at the underworld. I thought about calling this the biblical underworld because we're going to go from my perspective of what the underworld is.
Okay.
But I
They
chose
help.
to stick with just the underworld.
So
So
this
what we're
help.
going to do today, I'm going to draw here the world.
Let's
And I'm going to try to show
about it from
you
the
up here
Chinese.
all about what's underneath, or what's
That was-
underneath. Or
I could take them, right? It's pure. There's no,
underneath us.
you need it?
Yeah, no,
I'm going to show you what the Bible says
preservative.
about
No.
I said, you bring me some to eat. You bring me some to eat?